If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you the top 8 headlines in developing news stories that made it in this week. Now, as usual, I'll give you the top 8 local headlines in developing news stories that made it in first. Then we may do a movie clip, a skit, or something that's going on in the community, or a trailer. And then I'll give you the top 8 international headlines in developing news stories that made it this week. So let's waste no time. Let's get to it. Story number 1. What will it take to get back to normal? It's clear that local residents may be eager to get things back to normal after police had to break up a gathering at YSU's Edge, that's Youngstown State University. Officials have made it clear that if the public can limit the spread of COVID-19 by following professional advice and procedures, that things could slowly get back to normal. But if residents fail to follow orders handed down by the state, then we could be in for a long ride. Each week there's some new information coming out about COVID-19. Every week there's something new being released, so there is still no accurate information good enough to perfectly contain or eliminate this virus. But treatments have proven effectively. This story continues to develop. Story number 2. Local healthcare workers are still on high alert. After ramping up testing at nursing facilities, workers remain on high alert. 16 tested positive at a Warren facility last week, and a small amount of cases continue to be reported in surrounding areas. Local nursing homes. COVID-19 has dominated headlines from the year's start till now, and it looks to continue to dominate until year's end. But healthcare facilities and workers remain a top concern because they are very hard to not only replace, but they are the main solution to the problem. Story number 3. Random crime and violent acts remain a top concern. 18 people shot and 4 dead in Cincinnati. Businesses vandalized in Boardman, and a number of random stories relating to crime and violence have many officials puzzled on why some areas are seeing a spike in violent acts. Some could be a result of media reports circulating about protests and police brutality, or some could just be conflicts that emerge over time. This headline shows how crime and violence remains a top concern and continues to be in the headlines, especially after the NRA also came under attack. This could give more lawmakers a reason to target the use of guns. This story is still developing locally and across the United States. Story number 4. The pressure is on Youngstown City Schools. Out of 608 schools, Ohio reports says Youngstown is ranked 607 when meeting the state's education requirements. They're almost last. The district is on the radar because there have been millions of dollars thrown at the schools to get them out of failing status, but no results thus far. The pressure will be on parents and district school officials to reach the goals put in place by the state and the district. CEO Justin Jennings will be leaving it in the hands of voters to renew an emergency tax levy for the struggling school district. COVID-19 has already left the district with some tough decisions to make in the fall, and some parents have already thrown in the towel and decided to homeschool their children. This story is still developing. Story number 5. The Valley is prepping up for voting season. With all of the attention surrounding voting, Valley polling locations are set to stay in place. Although the focus has been mainly on mail-in ballots, the Board of Elections for Mahoning and Trumbull County don't seem to be planning to move any polling locations, even as COVID-19 remains a top concern. National and local stories have been the topic of discussion in political circles and remain a top concern for voters looking for accurate information and instructions on their constitutional right to vote in this election season. This story is still developing as we get closer and closer to November. Story number 6. Youngstown has a goal in mind, but what will it take to reach it? The city is facing a $3 million deficit, if not more, but there has been some improvements taking place in the city, as in some reports. In the midst of COVID-19, income tax collections slowed up, but the city has been seeing some other revenue circulating in slowly. So that's improvements after the extension of multiple tax deadlines. After a tainted past filled with mismanagement of city funds, the city's effort to elect better officials is just one of many goals that the city has. The city desperately needs to attract businesses, better residents, and in the process improve its school systems. If Youngstown will be able to reach its goals for a better future, that remains the question. The city's interim financial director may have some doubts as he is looking at the finances coming in and he's trying to manage the city's money. Story number 7 and the top 2 local headlines and developing news stories that made it in this week. Dark money in Ohio is a hot topic right now. That's underground money, bad money. Speaker Larry Householder may be in the hot seat, but he has sparked some attention on dark money in Ohio being channeled through politicians and other things. An editorial focusing on what led the official to lose his position as Ohio's speaker bumped this story up to number 7. As the editorial homes in on some key issues. The loophole which led Householder to funnel money through a third party, as stated in the article, is the main topic of discussion as many look more into how taxpayer money is being handled by officials, especially in Ohio. As this investigation continues, the center of attention will be on the trail left behind by everyone involved in this scandal. Almost, I believe it was $60 million. Story number 7. Hot story, hot topic, and that's why I made it to the top 2 this week. Story number 8. The top local headline and developing news story that made it in this week. Local spending is in the spotlight. Money. As the money is slowing up, paychecks and budget goals remain a top concern. In the coming weeks, as news stories develop, money will be a key topic across the boards. Across the state, officials will be focused on the who, what, when, and where money is being spent from the bottom up, probably down, to meet the demands of the taxpayers and to pay the bills, which you need money to pay the bills. Well, those are our top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. I'll be right back with the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories right after this break, so don't go anywhere. You're the Mediator with me, Brian West. I'll be right back.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
If you want to check out the stories that almost made it in or did make it in, go to our Twitter feed on our website. Check out everything. All of the sources are there. And go to the website. It's method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program.